Welcome back to Let's Play the Capo 2. So, I have no idea what to expect from this, but like lengthwise, what's gonna happen, how it'll turn out, everything like that, I have no idea. But let's get on with it. And the bird's gonna chirp and ruin every moment of it, I imagine. Just be like, oh, this is really dramatic and all that, and just in the background, dip, 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 dip. The Capo. Dip. Silently, cherry blossoms danced in the air, surprisingly slowly, without making a sound. Cherry blossoms were fluttering to the ground as far as I could see. Wait, it said without a sound. I wouldn't really expect it to make a sound regardless, really. Whatever, as if they were trying to color this canvas. As if they were trying to add color to this blank white world. They were gracefully dancing in the air. They were so very beautiful, amazingly beautiful, that even I, who was all alone, who could only shiver, who was so lonely, and who was so lost, found myself fascinated by that beautiful scene. Therefore, I thought that this must be a dream. It was a blank dream, a dream within a dream. Although I knew I would wake up any minute, I still longed to dream. It felt like my heart was brimming with new expectations. It felt like I could shed a tear as I basked in the sun. And it felt like I was waiting for spring to come in the middle of winter, as I dreamt. I said to him, amidst the falling snow and cherry blossoms. He woke up. This is the beginning of the dream. He looked at me with emotionless eyes. I thought about it for a while, but his name had been decided from the start. But I was a little hesitant to give him that name. I knew that what I was doing was wrong. Yes, I was wrong. But I decided to continue dreaming. It's the treasure that was born inside of me, Yoshino Sakura. It's my only, irreplaceable, precious treasure. He reacted to my words. You know, maybe this explains why he's so dense. Well, actually, you know, that visual novel that I mentioned in the previous recording, just like Katagra and all that, you know, and I was like recently replayed through, was it pronounced Kara no Shoujo, not Karawa Shoujo, entirely different game. Well, visual novel, but Kara no Shoujo essentially, and I notice there seems to be a pattern in visual novel protagonists, or protagonists in general really. They always have to be pretty dense. I mean, there was this one scene in Kara no Shoujo that had an awkward walk-in, and all I could think was, Yoshiyuki. It's just like, I'm gonna knock on the door and be like, I'm coming in, and don't even wait for a reply. Even if they reply, just like, wait a minute, they still open the door. I'm just like, every protagonist is the same in that regard, isn't it? It's just like, they always have to have that awkward obliviousness to them. He nodded. Then I saw the light in his eyes. Holy shit! He's voice acted! He smiled joyfully. I have no regrets. He nodded. Once again. I wanted him to say my name. I was a little disappointed. He nodded and reached his small hand to me. I squeezed his hand. It was a warm hand. In this freezing cold world, in the snow, I seek out its warmth and squeeze it. That was the beginning of my dream that announced the beginning. Makes you sound like a god of some sort, or maybe that's what it is, I don't know. Just like, before the beginning, there was the beginning. I was in my usual spot like always. I bet this is one of the CGs, probably. I exhaled deeply. I sat down and leaned against a tree. The cold wind felt good on my hot body. I felt depressed. I was dreaming. Resentment, jealousy, and contempt. Discontent and indignation towards the world. You know, while I haven't actually, played the original Capo, I have heard a bit from the original, and if I'm getting it correctly, she was essentially one of the choices in that one, but ended up not being the chosen one, and Yuki, I think her name, was the one that was chosen in the end. And I don't know, she must have just spent all her days kind of researching this cherry tree thing or something like that, I don't know. And then once she realized everyone else had already moved on for years and years, and she found herself alone, something like that. I don't really know. It's just a guess. Hidden hope. Innocent desire. My wish came true in my dream. But what if it becomes reality? I looked up. Beyond that veil of darkness, the everlasting cherry tree was blooming beautiful flowers. The enchanted cherry blossoms collect people's wishes, giving them hope. In the world of my dream, people's love can become a great power. It's the world that one magician dreamed of a long time ago. Wait a second. Maybe this is something to do with why he's able to see into people's dreams. I suppose this probably be linked to it. Well, it's gonna explain everything. Well, I hope it does. That world must be beautiful. There's a spectacular moon in the sky. The cherry blossoms flutter down under the moonlight. They are so beautiful. Once again, I stood up and concentrated while touching the trunk of the tree. I need to preserve this beautiful thing. Actually, now that I think about it, is this route going to be pretty much the same as the default route, wherever it is, only it's entirely from her point of view, and probably skip over a bunch of things to focus more on the behind-the-scenes stuff that she's been up to? If there's a flaw in the system, I can fix it. Just like a switchboard operator. I sorted out to only grant innocent desires, and continued my work today, in order to help those in need. I felt like I was melting from my hands. My mind started drifting away. I was switching myself off. I'm going to become someone else. This moment is always scary for me, no matter how many times I go through it. I feel like I'm going to disappear. As I honed my senses, I fell into a deep but shallow sleep. You've been hibernating through most of the plot. This explains everything. No, it doesn't, actually. Holy shit, he has a face! I gotta say, he looks a bit goofy looking, really. He's like, hey, what? Shut up. I was the protagonist through this whole game. I mean, we only seen his face the one time in the CG, and now we're actually seeing him appear as, on screen like all the other characters. So, if, it's supposed to be from Sakura's perspective, then why does she show up on screen as well? We ate dinner and spent the evening relaxing under the kotetsu. This is happy time for me. A happy time.
オーバーですよ。
私はヨシユキくんがいてくれるからね。もう、ひふみ。何ヶ月になるんだっけ？
だいたい9ヶ月かな。
もうそんなになるか。
The time flew by so quickly. Yoshiki-kun started talking as I thought about the days that I've spent with him. This is kind of typical of protagonists in these type of games, isn't it? I mean, look at his face, the hair, the style. It's that very average look that protagonists always get. And there's always the case where CG scenes will like hide their face, but make like one exception here and there. But essentially, you rarely even see their face. You see the hair and the back of the head or the side of the head, but the face will be blank. I've noticed they always do that. So it's kind of weird in that way to see the protagonist throughout this whole thing, and suddenly he's just like... Actually, it kind of reminds me of Higurashi. In the question arcs, you don't see Keiichi, I think his name is, who is like the main focus. But then in the answer arcs, he actually joins everyone else on screen, or maybe it was something else I'm thinking of. Because there was this, like, I mentioned it quite a few times in the past, like the after LP talk things I do is kind of like inspired from this kind of odd kind of thing they have in the Higurashi series visual novels, where they just like have all the characters interacting, talking about the story and all that. And it was like a running gag, I recall, where he's just like, I'll get my picture one day. But I don't think he ever got his picture one day thing, because by the time it got to the point where he'd appear on screen, it was like the scenario thing was replaced with something else. But yeah, you get the idea. It's kind of rare to see a protagonist on screen like that.
それにしても驚きましたよ。
何が？
純一さんにいきなり吉野家に住めって言われた時は、純一さん、ほんといきなりだったんですから。
お兄ちゃん何でも突然決めるからね。
No, it's also weird for a protagonist to actually start speaking when, like, this entire LP I've been voice acting him, so he's just like, hey, we've got a voice actor now, so you can only read the inner kind of text kind of thing, like inner dialogue in their mind and just descriptive narrative kind of thing, and rambling like I always do. I laughed, but I appreciated Onija. I thought he knew everything. He knew about the cherry trees, Yoshiki-kun and me.
いきなり、お前たちもそろそろいい年だから、一つ屋根の下に住むにはまずいだろう、ですからね。
If Oni-chan didn't know, he never would have said that. He's always been naive like that.
しかも、突然思いついたように。
Does that run in the family or something? Naive? Because Yoshiki kind of fits the bill on that a bit. I'm sure he was just looking for the right moment. All for me.
3月の卒業式の時だったっけ？
ええ、卒場から帰ってきたらいきなりですよ。もうすぐ付属の3年生になるから、受験勉強にも専念できていいだろうって。
He planned it for me so that I could enjoy my remaining days. He's always been a sweet guy like that.
その割には成績は今一つみたいだけど。
I smiled at him. I laughed innocently.
でも僕的にはラッキーだったよ。やっぱり一人は寂しいからね。吉行くんがうちに来てくれて嬉しいよ。
Just like, I'm glad you're here, but I'm gonna bugger off for most of the plot though. But this is my story now, bitch, so I'm gonna get the full attention.
でも、さくらさん、あんまりうちに帰ってこないじゃないですか。
He even points it out. Yoshiki-kun spoke with a shy frown upon his face. I was happy because he wouldn't show this kind of spoiled face to Unei-chan or Yume-chan.
だからなおさらだよ。
You know, that's different. We've been like, with Otome, it was just like, shit, I forgot. What did he always call again? Otone, wasn't it? But with Sakura, it's Otome-chan. So that's very different. I couldn't help but smile when I saw his face. You know, I've been rambling through most of this part, but seriously, with these two on screen at the same time, they just seem out of place, really. It's like, if it was just Yoshiyuki on screen, fair enough. If it was just her on screen, fair enough, but you combine the two and it's like, huh? What? It's like, just so totally different.
たまにうちに帰ってくると、そこに待ってる人がいる。玄関を開けると、楽しそうに団らんする声が聞こえてくる。美味しそうなご飯の匂いがしてくる。それがすご ごく嬉しいんだ。
I felt like I was going to cry as I talked. I nodded deeply so he wouldn't see my expression.
自分は一人じゃないんだって。あったかいんだよ、すごく。家に帰ってくると心がすごくあったかくなるんだ。
I wasn't lying. My heart was getting very warm.
だからね、仕事も頑張れる。今日も頑張って仕事を終わらせてお家に帰るぞってね。
My work. I work for all the dreamers in Hatsune Island. I protect their dreams. Well, this kind of explains why she's absent a lot, I suppose, but how she goes about it is the question. I work for Yoshino Sakura.
ほら、吉行くんがうちに来てからいいことだらけだよ。
I can smile innocently as he's here. You know, bit of a spoiler, but hey, we've gone through Otane's route, so whatever. But essentially in that, then we find out that Yoshiyuki is essentially her son. And she just said she worked for him? That's kind of an odd scenario.
だからね、うちに来てくれてありがとう。
I can be honest with myself. It really is, isn't it? It's going through the whole story again, only it's from her point of view, and like I said, probably skips over some things here and there. I stretched my legs out toward the heater and let out a sigh. I cracked my back and laid my head on the table.
疲れたな。
So not only does she have to protect people's dreams, but she also has to be like the principal at the school as well. The fact that no one answered reminded me that I was alone.
そういえば、もう3日か。
What about Harimo? I had spent the last 3 days going back and forth between the office and the everlasting cherry tree. It was just the same routine every day. I barely even spoke with anyone else.
そろそろ一回帰ろうかな。
I lifted my head up. There was a huge pile of work on my desk for me to do.
そうだよね。学園の仕事はサボり気味だったしね。うにゃー。自業自得だとはいえ、いろいろとへこむな。
I knew I wouldn't be able to go home unless I took care of the paperwork first. I guess you reap what you sow. Harimo looked worried as he peered into my face. I tried to reassure him with a smile, but I was interrupted by a beeping sound.
おっと。
The Tanner was telling me that it had been 3 minutes. Actually, this check. It had been 18 minutes since I hit the record button. Well, around about. The beeping continued.
ご飯ご飯。
I opened the lid of my cup noodles with excitement. The smell of cheap soy sauce drifted over me.
美味しい手料理が食べたいな。
The wastebasket beside my desk was overflowing with nearly identical instant noodle cups.
醤油に味噌、塩と毎日味は変えているけど。
So kind of going with the kind of typical thing, just like, work so much, I haven't got time to cook anything, so just get cheap stuff that you can, like, instant stuff, you know? Stuff that doesn't take a lot of effort to make and just, like, repeat and repeat and repeat.
やっぱり味気ない。そうだよね。こんなのばっかり食べてちゃダメだよね。吉行くんの料理が食べたいな。
All I could do was sigh.
ダメだぞ。ちゃんと自分の役割を果たさないと。
You know, that's an odd thing to say. It's just like, a woman's gotta do what a woman's gotta do, or a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do, and what the hell would that be exactly? Because it could be anything. If I didn't, something awful would happen. When I spoke those words aloud, I was really trying to convince myself.
そうだ。
I had a good idea. If I couldn't go home, then I could ask him to come here. Wait. She did that in the main plot, didn't she? Well, it pretty much seems to be indicating that it is pretty much going through the main plot. But from her point of view, so it makes sense, I suppose. That classic scene. My voice echoed through the empty office. But you know, we've seen it so many times that I can't remember if it had variations of it, or if it was just the same one each time. I sounded excited, so I knew I was fine. I had the energy to keep going. Long as you don't put me in it. Nabe at school. That sure brought back memories. Meiko-chan and Moe-senpai. Moe-senpai? What? Was there actually someone with that name in the original? Because, like I said, I haven't played the original, so I haven't got a clue. The only thing I could tell from the original is, they kind of have characters that more or less look quite fairly similar to the ones in this. Heck, even Tsuganami apparently was in the original. Not the same Tsuganami from this, but essentially was another Tsuganami in that one, so... Man, this series must be pretty confusing. Well, it's confusing to me at least. We had so much fun together. Anyway, this was no time to get sentimental. I remember Coco tagging along at least once for this, but I'm not sure. I searched for her number on my phone. I felt like my energy had been restored. Lunch break had started a while ago, but Yoshino still hadn't come. Otome-chan was humming and stirring the nabe base as she responded. The bubbling of the nabe pot was very calming. Before long, the delicious smell had permeated the office. Harimo and I were in charge of watching over the food. Usually you don't leave a dog in charge of looking after your food. We hadn't told Yoshino-kun that we were holding a nabe party in my office. I was looking forward to seeing his surprised face. We crowded around the pot and started eating. At last there was a knock at the door. The door opened and Yume-chan appeared, leading Yoshiyuki-kun by the arm. He was surprised. His face registered blank surprise. Looks like my little joke paid off. I didn't know why, but Yume-chan already seemed upset with him. She was so cute when she sulked. But I pretend not to notice and spoke up with good cheer. So that's one thing she has in common with Yoshiyuki. He's just like, ah, isn't she just adorable when she's all like that? He's like, ah. Wow. Judging by Sakura's character alone with this whole kind of protector of dreams. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more to Harimo than meets the eye. I mean, all he looks like is like a dango that's formed into a dog, but there's gotta be more to it.
そんなことないよね。鍋食べたかったんだよね。さあ、具もたくさんあるから、ちゃんちゃん食べてちょうだい。はい、お皿とお箸。弟くん、何が食べたい？
Yoshino sat down even though he still seemed confused about what was going on.
それじゃあ、鶏肉と白滝。あとは、野菜を適当に。
This is how it should be.
お姉ちゃん、だし汁だいぶ煮詰まってない？
Eating with everyone.
ああ、そうだね。ちょっと足した方がいいかもね。
These are the times I like best.
私がやります。
Every day, just like every other.
夢だか？
Days with my family.
なんでそんなに動揺するのよ。
そりゃ動揺するに決まってるだろ。昨日の今日じゃないか。
今日は大丈夫です。絶対に失敗なんてしませんから。
I didn't know what happened yesterday, but I could guess by the way Yoshino was reacting. He was such a kind boy, and such a dense one, just like someone else I knew.
夢、お前は間違ってるぞ。人間のやることに絶対なんてありえない。
弟くん、大丈夫だよ。だし汁足すだけだし。
そうは言っても夢だぞ。今までだってどれだけの失敗を繰り返してきたことか。
失礼な。私だって成長してるんだから。そんな失敗ばかり。
She dumped huge globs of soy sauce into the pot as she spoke. The usual development.
そんな大量に醤油をぶち込むな。
これはちょっと手が滑っただけです。間違いです、間違い。
間違いって醤油を一気飲みするとショックで死んじまうんだぞ。お前本気で俺を亡き者にしようとしてないか。
You know, Yoshiyuki voicing his lines nowadays, you know, it reminds me just like how fast I read some of the dialogue compared to the actual voice actors. I mean, I would have wrote it like, you know what, people can die from chugging soy sauce, right? So, you sure you're not trying to kill me, Yume?
お兄さんはいちいち大げさなんです。多少味が濃くたってこうやって水で薄めれば。
She poured in vinegar instead of water. This was nothing new either.
ゆめちゃん、それお酢だよ。これが隠し味です、隠し味。
隠れてないから。
だし汁はこれですね。これで薄めれば。
This was quality family time. Just what I wanted.
さくらさん？ごめん。もう笑うなんてひどいですよ。
You know, the way that laugh was going there, which was going to go into a yandere mode just like with that laugh there.
ごめんね。でも
It has a bit of that classic crazy chick yandere kind of laugh to it. Except it's not. It was so funny. I was so happy.
もう
Yume-chan was scowling at me.
さくらさんったら。
Otome-chan just looked embarrassed.
まあ夢が悪いんだけどな。
But Yoshiki-kun was as kind as always. How does that indicate kindness? I was so happy just to be near him. It's completely different to how I voice act him for most of this. For the most part, he's just like kind of sarcastic and dense. I laughed so hard I thought I might keep laughing forever. I laughed so hard the tears welled up in my eyes. Wasn't that funny?